So where one video ends with a skip being taken, another video starts with one arriving. So in preparation for this, I had to get all the bricks up from the back, destroy a front wall, and then with the help of my lovely mother, the angel she is, getting them all loaded into the new skip. And it was an absolutely glorious day in Macclesfield. So up the ladder I go to replace some broken tiles. I also had to cap off the soil pipe venting, put a little adhesive onto a bit of lead flashing that needed tidying up, and most importantly, clean the roof of moss, just so it helps again for leakages, and checking the solar panels while I'm up there. But more concerning matters, I now had to take out a door frame and a door and brick it up, and I have not done bricklaying before. So how I went about it, I secured the bricks above and then drilled every alternate brick so that I can get the half bricks out, ready to slot the new bricks in to create a solid wall. Once those were drilled, it allowed me to use the SDS drill to properly get them out, mix up a batch of the good muck, what do you think, good texture, and then get to work. Let me know how you think I did. I know I made an awful lot of mistakes when it comes to this, but it was my first bricklaying job, so I'm not going to be hard on myself. Not too shabby, straight that is. Dry rod damp proofing course was then applied to the exterior of the property to stop rising damp, and as you saw in the last video and as you'll see now, the joists were rotten, so out they came. We cleaned up all underneath to stop damp spreading before creating a new floor. So I thought I would give you a closer look at what I'm doing with the joists, just to waterproof them at either end. So I've got the waterproofing sheets, cut them all to size based on one first of all. It was just easier and quicker. From that, measured it out so I had enough overhang on the edge to an envelope. Marked across all the joists while they were level. Wrap it around as tight as possible. I'm going to staple 3 along the sides. Boom! Get my envelope at the end. And whack another 2 in. Bob is your uncle. Look how tidy that is. Nice. As you can see, both sides of the floor have now been spotlessly cleaned, trying to get rid of the continuation of the damp. With it all now being fully able to air, it's going to dry quickly. All the timbers which are treated anyway are resting on the waterproofing. I have got a damp specialist coming around. He's going to advise me on what's best. And then by the time this is all done, the joists have been put down, stabilising in between. I'm going to put some insulation between each one as well, just to help the EPC of the building. It's going to be sorted near. By far the worst room in the house was the utility, and it was time to take it back to brick. And what I will say is one of my biggest regrets on retrospect is not doing this sooner, and unfortunately prioritising the damp damage on the floor beforehand, which just made it so difficult to work around and cost me so much time. When I finally got rid of all the plaster from all the walls, I came across another problem, which was this wall right here. It wasn't attached to anything, it was absolutely wobbly, so I had to do the job properly, right? It had to come down in preparation for a partition wall coming up in the future. I've not done a speaking bit in a video for a while, but I think it's important to do it now because I'm feeling a sense of massive overwhelmedness, if that's a word, imposter syndrome. The domino effect again has taken place where one thing has led to another. So I took down the plaster from this wall, and then that meant me taking down the wall because it wasn't connected. And then I had to take down the door frame element there, which wasn't necessarily supported by the roof, so I'm trying to get the lintels fixed for that. And then this bit came down, and the floors and all the rest of it. And I'm hoping at the end of this, I'm gonna have a big smile on my face, but for now, imposter syndrome well and truly. Moving on to the internal damp course protection, I decided to use a company called KA Tanking Slurry, and it was an amazing product to use. You basically fully coat the wall once and then leave it for 2 hours before giving it a second coat, as you just saw me do then. I will do exactly the same, copy and repeat for the top layer of this wall, and then we are done. Didn't do any filming for this bit, but I secured all the newly placed joists with cement, put bricks where appropriate, and it was as steady as anything. Moving down into what will be the kitchen, one other place in the property that has been badly affected by damp. Everything back to brick, let's start with the damp proofing system for rising damp. Dry Rod is the company that I used, and spectacular they were. Spaced at 120 mils, I marked on my wall. Got a new drill bit, ooh that's long, and marked it off for the depth. Made sure they were being inserted at least 150 millimeters from the ground level. I then drilled in every 120 millimeters across, made sure they were well cleaned because this is really important before inserting the rods as so. Ba-ba! Before I started tanking downstairs, I wanted to remove any plug sockets just so I could tank behind there so there wasn't any weak areas. I then give it a thorough clean once again and a spray just to help the adhesion of the product. Mixed a couple of batches up as per the instructions and guidelines, and then, well, you saw upstairs in the utility. Enough of those damp shenanigans, let's fit a loft hatch. Because the existing loft hatch came from this particular area, I wanted to reinforce it to the max, possibly overkill, but once it's plasterboarded, I didn't want to give it an excuse to crack, and now it's strong. Look at me, I'm a monkey. Fitting the new loft hatch, I used a laser level to be nice and precise to make a framework of 1200 by 600 mil. What I think is absolutely essential when doing loft hatches is to do continual measurements, as you will see me do throughout this video, as you need it nice and square. Keylight was the company that I used, and oh my god, they are so simple to install. You detach the ladder, which makes it a lot lighter, create a framework, put the hatch back in, and it holds itself. Now that it's up, use packers where appropriate, drill in the 6 points where necessary, and again do measurements diagonally across, horizontally and vertically, and then BAM! It's strong enough to do dips on. Attaching the ladder, once again very simple. Let's now cut the ladder to size. So obviously it's too big and we need to cut it down, do the appropriate measurements, secure it, do a nice straight cut before putting on the feet. Up we go, dumpty dumpty dump. Secure the ladder properly in place, and then bish bash bosh, we're done with that one. And because I've not destroyed anything in at least 5 minutes, here is videos of me doing exactly that around the house. Now the wall you can see to my left, I kid you not, I turned my back for one moment and my mum absolutely destroyed it. Took it down, read it, look at this. Now new walls and a door frame will have to be fitted, but for now this is what needed to happen. And then disaster strikes, hit myself with a crowbar, fracture machine, so I will be resting for the next few days. But I will leave you on a more positive note. Here are some of the savings that I did from selling some of the things found in the property, and they all go towards the refurb fund.